All right, guys. So we are just the bearer of bad news this entire podcast. It feels like companies are breaking up, streaming services are shutting down, and now some breaking news, at least for us, not for you guys once this is actually out. But the breaking news is that apparently Iron Fist, which was the first one I was like, oh, Tristan, we have to talk about this. And then all of a sudden, Luke Cage as well have both been canceled from Netflix. I'm sure you've heard this online so far, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. We're not going to say it got canceled, so, goodbye. No, we're going to speculate as to why. Now, Tristan, you have to acknowledge you've not seen Luke Cage or Iron Fist.
No.
I have not.
My parents saw a little bit of Iron Fist because Iron Fist was one of my dad's favorite Marvel comic heroes.
And did he come out of it liking it?
No, he was sorely disappointed.
There we go. And that's the theme for this. That's the theme of our lives. No, that is the theme of this part of the podcast. Because the issue is that while I have also not seen Iron Fist, I just finished the first season of Luke Cage. God damn, that's so good. But I haven't seen season 2, so that also could have been disappointing. Another thing to mention as well is that, like I just mentioned, haven't seen Iron Fist, but your dad is such a good example of what a lot of people felt when looking at Iron Fist. The show, not even the guy playing the character. Because again, I do have some knowledge of Iron Fist. I don't want to say he's my favorite character, but every time I think of Iron Fist, I basically go like, hell yeah, my boy Iron Fist! So I think I like Iron Fist. Like, a lot more than I ever... No, because it's the thing where, like, if someone said to me, like, oh, who would you choose? Like, Spider-Man or Iron Fist? I'm like, Spider-Man. Like, if you compare certain... No, but the thing, like, certain heroes, I'd be like, immediately go to them, probably before Iron Fist. But I feel like, low-key, Iron Fist is amazing. And he has some great comic book runs. Or every time I'm reading a comic and I see an Iron Fist cameo, I'm like, oh, this just immediately got better.
Yeah.
But... the problem is that there was a lot of controversy surrounding Iron Fist. Even when seeing the show, if you didn't know about the controversy, people were still like, meh. And that kind of started the trend of meh with the Netflix Marvel shows. Mm. Now, before we even get into, is that justified or not, or what the controversies were, I do want to mention that we have talked about this before. Disney will be starting its own streaming service. So, of course, there's speculation that that maybe Disney raised the price for the show to be licensed, or for the name to be licensed out, and Netflix was like, we're not going to make any profit off of this, we have to cancel, right? That could be one thing. Another thing is Disney could have just been like, nah, we just don't want to renew. We just don't want to renew. We don't want to. Why do we have to? We're not going to. Right. And there could be a season 3 of both shows on Disney's streaming service. The streaming service, I believe, is launching in 2019, 2020. It's 2019 because that's when the Clone Wars show is coming out, right? I thought. Am I wrong? I could be wrong, but I thought it was going to be 2019 because we talked about that. We were hyped. Yes. You were definitely more hyped than I was. But the point, though, is, as Tristan's looking that up, the controversies. Actually, before we get to
on Disney's streaming service,
2019. Okay, so as you're looking that up, I just want to say that before we get into the controversies, because I was just about to, and then I remembered, but the Iron Fist thing did start a kind of meh trend, where with Iron Fist Season 1, people said meh, people med at Defenders, and I know some of you guys out there are like, really, he's just using meh in that way, but that's really the general reaction, though. People were like, they did, but seriously, they were not really interested. They were less hyped as each show went on. With Iron Fist, Defenders, I've heard mixed things about Punisher. Then when it came to season 2 of Jessica Jones, people said that it wasn't as focused and it was kind of lacking compared to season 1. I've only seen season 1 and I loved it to death. So in my opinion, it could go really downhill from there because of how good season 1 was in many ways. And then same thing with, Luke Cage Season 2 I've heard nothing about. So it might not have actually been bad. I've just heard nothing about it. Which in some ways could be worse, because I've heard nothing about it. And then Season 2 of Iron Fist, people were like, yeah, no, what else? What do we say, right? And then Daredevil season 3, there's been some controversy. Don't spoil down below. I haven't seen season 3 of Daredevil. Neither has Tristan. If you want to spoil down below, because I may have heard some fake spoilers. If you want to spoil down below, spoil completely fake. So say the craziest part of Daredevil was when Goku was there, and I'll be like, all right, cool. That was crazy. That was some really crazy shit. But when it comes to Daredevil season 3, there's also been mixed reviews there. And that's a problem, especially because, while we don't know what numbers, like how well these have been doing because Netflix doesn't release those numbers, we do know word of mouth because that's how it gets around, right? That's how these shows get around. And apparently with Luke Cage and Iron Fist's latest seasons, according to, so I'll link the article down below as well, because I found this out maybe like a few hours before we even started airing, before we started recording rather. Apparently the social media numbers were way low for like social media interaction and engagement with people being hyped over Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Now, normally, I'm in the camp that Tristan's in, and even though I run our social media stuff, I know that Tristan's thinking right now, because I've known you for 10 years or more now, Tristan?
Right.
Your exact thought is, social media, who fucking cares? But the problem... Right? Come on. You're going to lie on air, Tristan? Tell me.
No,
come on.
you're not wrong.
But here's the thing. Even though I understand where Tristan's coming from, because I feel the same way, the problem is that when we have no numbers, all we have to gauge is, how are people talking about this? And you could look at your friend or your dad and be like, what do you think? And they can tell you, not really interested. But that is the smallest sample size you could ever find as one human being to just judge everything off of. So sadly, we do have to look at social media as a metric and kind of look at that as like a non-controlled poll, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, and like we're not controlling it. So yes, it's not the most accurate data, but again, Netflix, because it doesn't have to release it to any government organization, just to their stockholders, they don't have to. There's no reason they have to tell us how well the Death Note live action movie did. You know, they don't have to tell us. All they have to see is, did people like it? Were people hyped? And are they giving it, are they review bombing it? Are they giving it like 1-star reviews? Are people actually giving it 5-star reviews? I'm pretty sure you could still give these shows reviews, right? I haven't seen these shows on my computer in the longest time. Can you still give a 5-star review on a Netflix show, Tristan?
I think they still have a rating system. Okay,
no, I only have it because I'm watching it via like a smart TV or a Kindle, so I have not seen any of that, so I have no idea. But still though, Tristan, I've talked enough. These two shows are canceled. How do you feel about them? Even though I know you haven't seen them, but how do you feel about them? I'll go on about the controversies and some other stuff, some other theories later, but I want to know how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, I still need to finish season 2 of Daredevil. I've seen a bit of Jessica Jones. There's shows that I would check out. I definitely give Luke Cage a try.
So good.
I wanted to give Iron Fist a try because I kind of wanted to see it with my dad, but I see that's a sinking ship. So
yeah, right.
But I feel like this stuff will come back on Disney's streaming service. Maybe not immediately, but I feel like they might give it another go after some time.
What I worry about is I hope the entirety of both casts are available because they're actors. They got to work.
Oh yeah.
You know? True. Yeah. And that's what worries me the most. Like, Disney's ready to pull the trigger on Luke Cage immediately. Like day one, you see Luke Cage on the network, right? But does that mean they can make a season 3 if I want to find his name because Mike Coulter, he's Luke Cage. What if he's doing something else?
Right.
You know, what if he's doing something else? What if he's on a major TV show doing something else? If he's in a movie, it's like, we'll get him in about 6 months, 9 months. What if he's on a TV show? What can you do, you know? So Disney would have to do something where they're like, we've canceled this from Netflix, but here's a little bit of money for exclusivity. Don't do anything else for a while. Or like, don't do anything too big. Like they'd have to, which Disney has that kind of money, by the way. Like Disney that has that kind of like FU money where they're like, we're not working with Netflix anymore, but how about I pay you not to work? Like for a little bit of exclusivity. Or, kind of like a bit like WWE or general pro wrestling. Not all pro wrestlers, but usually when you're on TV, there's a probation period if you're let go. It's like you can't work outside the company for like the next like 3 months or so.
Right.
Because if you didn't have that, Tristan, you would go from one network on television, let's say like WWE, one promotion, to TNA or Impact Wrestling, which is on another network, the night after. You could literally do it.
Right.
So you have a little bit like, oh, hey, you can't work for the next like 3 months or something. But like they can still get like some kind of cash if necessary. But like they just can't like work in pro wrestling for like at least 3 months or something like that. It's different per contract. But in this case, I do wonder if they're like, how about this is canceled, but we don't let them run away. Perhaps. But I do want to talk about one of the reasons why Luke Cage may have been canceled, because when Iron Fist was canceled, my first thought was, yeah, understandable. Again, we've heard negative things. We haven't heard positive things about season 2. Okay, so it's canceled. Right? That's just how shows work. That's how television works. Just because this is streaming doesn't mean that it has to go on forever. It's just how that shit works. But with Luke Cage, it said that it was in the middle of filming online, and you can't believe everything you read online. But I heard that they were filming, so I thought that Luke Cage was safe. We were wrong. But here's the thing, though. So I'm reading this off the Wikipedia page, and again, this will be linked as well. There are it is cited. So there are some citations. I'm not going to read anything that says citation needed. But so basically, I'll read it directly from the page. By the end of July 2018, work in the series writer room was believed to have begun on a third season, though Netflix had yet to make a decision on whether the season would be ordered at that point. That September, the writers room was put on hold so Netflix and Marvel could plan how to adjust the season from the expected 13 episodes to a shorter 10-episode run. During the week of October 15th, detailed scripts from the first half of those 10 episodes were delivered to Netflix and Marvel, incorporating ideas that had been plotted out for 6 months and notes received from Netflix and Marvel executives. However, some of the executives had issues with these scripts, despite featuring many of the notes they asked to be included. With the creative differences devolving into quote-unquote behind-the-scenes turmoil by the end of the week, with some demands that a new showrunner be found for the season. With Marvel and Netflix on opposite sides of this disagreement, and the series being costly for Netflix even though they do not own the property, quote-unquote, the only viable exit strategy was cancellation, with the series officially canceled by Netflix on October 19th, 2018. So apparently... this still continues for a little bit. Deadline Hollywood noted that, unlike fellow series Iron Fist, which had been canceled a week earlier, Marvel had no plans to continue or revive the series on another platform such as Disney streaming service. So apparently, Disney, against people saying that they don't enjoy it, Disney wants to bring back Iron Fist, but not bring back Luke Cage. I don't know if Luke Cage became super expensive, perhaps. I'm being serious. I have no idea.
Yeah,
like, maybe Iron Fist is super fucking cheap to film? To film.
I think so.
I don't know. I'm just saying that, like, maybe the choreography is cheaper than Luke Cage punching through things every episode. Because I would like to let you know, he punches through things a lot. Like, a lot of stuff is broken. Like,
I feel like the effects for Iron Fist's powers are...
They could just but I'm saying they could just downplay it by him just being more punchy than actually throwing, like, any kind of beams or anything like that. Like, I'm saying that, like, choreography may, and I'm not saying it is, but choreography may be cheaper than, like, shooting up a bar.
Right.
And having a full set, like a real-life set, people walk into, this is a real place that they have to fix afterwards, having it explode. Because there was actually a lot of rubble in Luke Cage. A lot of things either exploded or got shot up, and they had to film in real places. Seemingly they looked like they were real places. They weren't like some like Hollywood set that was created. Maybe they were, but... So Luke Cage could have actually been really expensive, perhaps. The amount of things that had to happen, and the way it was filmed, and it was filmed outside a lot, which could also be an issue. So maybe that was the problem. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it might have been more expensive than like a Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Or a Jessica Jones, but these shows are not cheap. Just because they're ground level heroes doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it's that much cheaper, because even though, yes, they might not be in front of a green screen or they might not be going on location outside of the US and they're just focused on New York, New York ain't that cheap to film in.
Right. Yeah.
That's another thing, too. Like, New York is not a cheap place to try to film in, and they filmed every single show. I mean, to be fair, I don't know about Iron Fist, but they filmed Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage in New York. And I'm pretty sure it was 100% in New York. Maybe some of the stuff that had to occur outside, just like they mentioned it in story, maybe they filmed elsewhere.
Yeah.
But like in a prison elsewhere or something. But when it comes to, hey, we're on the streets of New York, I'm 95% sure all of it was filmed on the streets of New York. And that ain't cheap. You know, it ain't cheap destroying shit. So
Right.
I do wonder if that was an issue as well. Now, the controversy I was talking about, specifically with Iron Fist, people online were saying, hey, we're in 2018. Why are we going to have the same old story that's happened countless times in many other different forms of media about a guy who comes in who isn't Asian? He doesn't have to be white. He isn't Asian. And he's learning all these martial arts techniques, and he comes out learning them better than the Asian people who taught him the techniques.
Right.
So that some people were saying, why can't Danny Rand be Asian? And they were just like saying, like, but why can't he be Asian though? Like, what's the problem with him being Asian? And that was one thing that happened. Now, I'm not saying that they're right in that. I'm not saying that they're wrong in that. I'm saying that that's what some people were saying. And if
Right.
those are people that could have become fans of the show, could have seen the show, could have seen themselves in the character in some way or another, that was lost on them. Now, you have some people online will be like, well, they were never gonna watch it anyway. Again, we don't know that, right? All we know is that you have Daredevil telling, his story. You have Jessica Jones telling her story. I think it actually started with Jessica Jones, I would argue, telling her story the way that it did. A story that many women have experienced. And then you have Luke Cage telling his story, and one that many people have experienced. And then when you get to Iron Fist, it just felt different from the our story messages that may have been coming from Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
That might have been it. Now, again, I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong. I'm just saying that I think that might be also where some of the Iron Fist, not even negativity, but just some people not watching it, right? And
Yeah.
then when they did see it, again, I've heard this, so maybe it's just different people's interpretations, but Danny Rand comes off as a bit of a whiner. Did your dad feel that way? No, I'll get some better confirmation. Did your dad feel like he wasn't like the big, cool Iron Fist that he remembers?
I mean, I guess that might have been a part of it. I think it was more like the powers. He just wasn't.
Oh, were his powers misrepresented? I thought I might have heard something like that too, or am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I heard was that apparently the power is only in one hand. So instead,
Well, he has. Well, yeah, he can only make one fist at a time, Tristan.
well,
He can't
I
use
don't
two
know.
fists. Who do you think he is? Two Fist McGee?
Yeah,
That guy works 32nd Street. He don't work this.
that
this
was
street. I
the
don't know.
thing that seemed kind of silly to me. It's like,
Mhm.
yes, I understand that it's called Iron Fist, but
Excuse
like,
me. The sequel, actually, that's where they may have messed up. In the second season, it should have been called Iron Fists, and his powers should have been given to both fists.
there you go.
That's what it should have been.
Yeah.
Iron Fists 2, the fistening. That is horrible. I should never have said that out loud. I should never have ever. I'm going to put that phrase in the ground. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to dig a grave for that phrase. That phrase
Can I
will never
dig you a
come out
kill
of.
grave?
How dare you? How dare you?
Let's see if I can out worsen that. Never mind.
He did. You just did. You just did. I was just about to put my fingers on my head for a headache, and I nearly turned into Professor X. I nearly did it. Anyway, seriously though, yeah, I heard that as well, that the powers were a little off, and I just think that some people may have saw him like this dude in a suit looking all spiffy, like this isn't our Iron Fist. He just looks like he's he looks like he just comes from money. He looks like he's going to be a sniveling idiot. Again, you have to watch the show to find out, sure. And maybe he comes back and he's just like he comes in the show and he's just fine. Because all I've seen is like literally all I've seen in the show is like a brief blurb of episode 1, and it's like Danny Rand comes back and people thought he was dead and shit. Like I don't know anything else other than that. So from the show's perspective. So yeah, I don't know. I heard people say that they liked him in Defenders actually, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Like as a random character in the show, he could be fun. Like, oh, I am a fun character in Defenders, but they didn't enjoy watching him being Danny Rand, and maybe that's just like in like learning to become Iron Fist. And even though it's sad because of course, even though we love Iron Fist, he's not Superman, he's not Spider-Man, he's not Batman. But maybe there's just some characters that people are like, yo, I want to watch that guy be a hero and do stuff with his fists and beat up people, but I don't necessarily want to hear about his hero's journey and how hard he has it.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, that might be just a better series. Like, I hope they still keep Defenders going, like having...
Well, no, Defenders is gone. They were never going to bring a second season of Defenders up.
Alright.
Which is fine, because I don't even think Defenders should be a season. It should be like a special every now and again.
Okay, like that would be interesting, yeah.
Well, because I feel like with a show, I feel like with any kind of crossover like that, I don't know how I would feel about an Avengers TV show. I just would like the Avengers coming together to be Avengers, beating up some bad guy stuff. But I would feel odd if it was like, yo, let's get all the Avengers together for a 13-episode TV show about them avenging.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, I feel like with a big crossover, maybe I've just been conditioned to it from other shows that do crossovers, or other, like, miniseries crossovers, but I have no problem with, like, a story arc being, like a crossover arc and stuff like that but in comic books. But even then, those are usually, like, 6 issues or something, Like, they wouldn't do them for, like, a 60-issue crossover. Yes, they have Avengers comic books, I know, but, like, that's also a different medium as well. Right. So I feel I can't wait to see Defenders, don't get me wrong, because I want to see how they all come together. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know if I would want a Defenders Season 2, because you then have to also raise the stakes.
Right.
And then do it in a full season.
True.
That's the thing, too. Like, the pacing for Netflix shows is always something as well that is odd that I notice, at least for Netflix Marvel shows. Because certain shows, you're watching them, certain episodes, you're like, oh, this is 45 minutes, and then the next one's like an hour and 10 minutes, and you're like, oh, damn. Like, there's never, like, because they don't have to cut certain things, unless maybe they're given notes to by Netflix, because they don't have to cut certain things, they just don't. So, like, one episode will be like, here's 48 minutes of Daredevil, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, I can take that, and maybe I can watch 2 today. And then the next episode is like an hour, and I'm like, I don't got that kind of time. Like, I got stuff to do. No, because that happened with Luke Cage. Like, one was like an hour and I think like 5 minutes. Right. And I was like, hey man, I got stuff. Like, it's really hard to do that, to marathon all that too. And I think maybe some people maybe just didn't want to marathon them all. Like, they felt like the stories were good, but that one season of like Luke Cage was like, oh, that's good. I can maybe see some more Luke Cage, but I felt like the people got their fill. Mm-hmm. Maybe because again the social media was down. Also, definitely the notes didn't help either. Like all that stuff with Netflix and Marvel feuding.
Right. Yeah.
That didn't help either. If that is true, that's also a problem. But now the question is, as we're wrapping this up, the question is Daredevil next? Because Jessica Jones is in the middle of filming, Punisher's in the middle of filming, so they probably wouldn't cut those. We say probably. But is Daredevil next? Because apparently the creators of the Daredevil series have it planned up to season 6. Now the question is, do you even think it'll go 6 seasons? Even if there was no Disney streaming service.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Because, like, I don't hate these shows, but I feel like they are good enough to be mini-series of shows.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't look at these shows and think, oh man, I can't wait to see Daredevil on its 10th year anniversary. No, I'm good.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm good. Like, granted, I'm not saying that we can't do stops and starts again or something like that. Like if Daredevil stopped tomorrow and then they wanted to bring it back for Disney streaming service, and even if they couldn't get all the same actors back, if they were like, we're gonna recast, but it's gonna be the same continuity, go ahead. Fuck it. Right now, like, just and say that you skipped like 2 years. Two, because you start to also think, like, how does it fit into the Marvel continuity? Because at first, for the first season of Daredevil, you remember Tristan, when they were referencing the incident. Luke Cage does that as well. They reference quote unquote the incident, which is referring to the first time the Avengers got together in New York.
Right, yeah.
You know, they kind of had a little party with Loki and some Chitauri soldiers. A little tiny party in New York. You know. It was like a 4th of July thing. There was some sparklers, people died. No, but they talk about the incident over and over and over again. Like, oh, do you remember the incident? In Luke Cage, really funny. There's some dude on the street who's selling DVDs. Like, hey, I got some really cool DVDs of the incident. You want some? My buddy came here with a 4K camera. It looks really good. Like, he's selling bootleg DVDs of the Avengers fighting crime. It's fucking hilarious. So... but the thing is that they reference that because, yeah, they're referencing the first time the Avengers came in. But after a while, after all these different years and this timeline and everything, it's like, how long has it been for you guys as well? Like, I don't know if Season 2 and Defenders have an actual time skip.
Right.
So these shows getting canceled, if they do come back on Netflix in some way, we could also have a time skip, which would be nice. Skip to, like, a post-Thanos world or something. Because I don't know if Season 3... or of Daredevil, or if any of the recent seasons of Iron Fist or Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, if they reference Thanos. I have no idea. And that would be interesting. Do you know who the Heroes for Hire are, Tristan?
I feel like I've heard that name.
That's the combo of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. That's what they called them, because they would hire them to do odd jobs, like, you know, stop this mobster from stealing my money, or save this cat from a tree. Oh, damn it, there's ninjas. So they we were just trying to save the cat from the tree. Like, this lady paid us for tree cat business, and all of a sudden there are ninjas. Damn it, Danny. So,
you know, honestly, I wish that was my life. Go to the bank, do some shopping, do the laundry. Oh shit, there's ninjas!
But anyway.
Throw the detergent at someone's head.
But people were saying, oh, would Netflix potentially have a Heroes for Hire show? I would like to throw my hat into this speculation. No, they're not.
Oh.
If both got canceled due to low...
Yeah.
If both got canceled due to Netflix and Disney arguments, and also the potential of low social media numbers, I don't think their thought's going to be, well, if these two were unpopular, maybe, just maybe, they'll be unpopular together and we can lose more money. So no. But I would suggest, Disney, if you're watching this or listening to this, first of all, really? I mean, that's cool, but, like, really? Awesome, all right. But if they're listening, I would suggest doing a Heroes for Hire show on their streaming service. Don't do another season of Iron Fist. I can assure you, nobody cares. But they would love to. But people would love to put the two together and have them have their own Heroes for Hire show. Or I've heard some great things about some supporting characters in Iron Fist that they could do a spin-off with two characters in Iron Fist. I don't remember their names because, again, I haven't seen it. I don't remember their comic book team duo name. But they have a team duo name that everyone likes, and you could totally have them get to, also have a spin-off show on Disney streaming service. I don't think Disney needs to, because we talked about Disney having different Marvel shows coming out on the streaming service already that they've talked about. Big budget, like movie budget Marvel shows of, like, Black Widow, Loki. But honestly, I think people would like some lower budget stuff like these guys. It's just the stories might have to be crafted a bit better and a bit more coherent. and they can't drop in quality. And yeah, and you know what? If a show runs its course, if you think, you know what, maybe it doesn't need a season 2, then that's fine. You just don't make a season 2. It's okay. And if people really are like, no, but come on, and then the hype builds up even more. If the actors are available, then make a season 2. Like, I don't think this streaming services have to follow the same conventions as normal TV did, where it's like, one has to come out every year, or else. It's like, no, if people don't like it, then don't make more. Like, just because it's Marvel, as much as we love Marvel stuff, doesn't mean that it's automatically going to print money every time.
Right.
Because there was that show on ABC, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, The Inhumans. Of course, it was based off of The Inhumans. Didn't do well. Got canceled after 1 season. Why? Not even because the Inhumans are unpopular in my opinion. It's the fact that people just didn't want to see it. People are like, nah, we got our X-Men, we're good. The Disney-Fox merger is happening, so that's going to be cool too. And it just felt like some soap drama, some soap opera drama stuff that people just weren't really interested in. And then it got canceled. I think it actually only aired a few episodes before it got canceled, actually.
Right.
I don't even know if it made it to its full season run before getting canned. It was the lowest rated show we've ever seen from Disney Marvel. It just didn't work. And there were some good actors on there too. I really enjoyed their work previously, but it didn't. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it didn't work. So that's just how it is, It's sad, but it's true. Like, not everything. DC learned that a long time ago. Not everything you put the DC logo on, it's gonna work. And I think maybe Marvel is learning that now. Yeah, right. Yeah. But I think Marvel's learning that right now. Like, just because our movies have somehow managed to work out very well and people love them to death and people go see them all the time, doesn't necessarily mean that the same will translate to every single TV show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done well.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. But I want to know what you guys think down below. Do you think that the Daredevil and Jessica Jones shows are safe, or do you think they'll be next on the chopping block? Personally, I think they're safe for now, but there is a chance maybe Season 3 of Daredevil is the last season, unless Season 4 is already filming. Like, I feel like they would let filming shows come to pass because they've paid that money to film. Right. But when it comes to Luke Cage, they were in the planning process. So, boom, that was gone. When it came to Iron Fist, the season just came out. And apparently, assuming it didn't do well numbers-wise, boom, that's gone. People are making jokes that they got Thanos because like half the Marvel shows on Netflix got erased.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's true. But yeah, so either way, I want to hear what you guys think down below.
Matt, I don't feel so good.